everyone, and welcome to the Jeff Bullas Show. Today I have with me Jared Kugel. Now, Jared is the CEO of Tire Agent, not secret agent, but Tire Agent. He is a serial entrepreneur who is revolutionizing the way consumers buy tires online. I think he delivers tires via the post, which is amazing. This B2C entrepreneur is bringing an industry online that would traditionally only buy in stores. In fact, I've never bought a tire online. Maybe Jared could help me. But anyway, since 2020, he's sold an astounding 2 million tires in the United States. And a lot of his tires are used actually at protests and they start burning them. No, that's not true at all. His company, Tire Agent, made the Inc. 5000 list for 2 years in a row. His first investor was the Entrepreneur Roundtable Accelerator. Jared is no stranger to raising capital in the startup world, having raised over 10 million in venture capital. Jared has been featured in publications like York Post and TechCrunch and has been a guest on podcasts like Gain Traction, What's Trading, Cars Yeah, and now the Jeff Bullas Show. Welcome to the show, Jared.
Thank you so much for having me. Super exciting.
So, Jared, you, in a little pre-chat we had before we hit record, you seemed like you maybe had entrepreneur burnt into your DNA. So tell us a little bit about your upbringing with your dad and how he treated you, and then we'll want to know how you crossed the threshold into saying, I think I can sell tires online and with Tire Agent. So how was your dad growing up? Because he actually was pretty tough on you from what you told me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my grandfather was actually successful in his own business in the lighting industry. And then what was so funny is my dad wanted to go into his business, but my grandfather kind of like pushed him out and he didn't want to give anything to my dad. And so when growing up, so my dad never got anything from my grandfather. And then same thing basically for me with my dad. When I was 14, it's time, people ask about allowances or, doing stuff around the house for money. My dad didn't want to do any of that. So he told me, he's like, you want money? Start a business. I was 14 years old. Like, what did I know about starting a business? So, well, that's what I did though. I ended up starting a business selling left-handed products online when I was like 14. It actually did really well. I mean, I made that time, I would say some like serious money for like a teenager. And then from there,
left-handed product.
Yeah.
So I'd like a golf club that left-handers would use, for example.
Yeah, well, I sold mostly office supplies, right? So keyboards were switched. It was quick dry pens, notebooks were flipped, stuff like that. And it did really well. And I kind of took that money, bought my first car, ended up investing it like a typical college student, lost everything because I was just having fun. Didn't really think about finances at that time. 21 years old. I now want to figure out what I'm doing. I'm in a senior year of college, or actually a little bit earlier than that. I was probably like 18, 19 years old around there. My dad did not want me in his business at all. He's like, I want you to become an investment banker or a stockbroker. and I was like, well, I don't know anything about those things. Well, anyway, what happened was he didn't want to give me a real salary. He's like, you want to work for me? Fine, straight commission. That's how you're doing it. I networked on my own. I built up my own book of business. And then I did so well that he had no choice but to put me on salary because it was cheaper for him to put me on salary to do this. And those customers really related to me. We ended up building a really big book of business, and I built a lot of friendships from that. And actually 20 years later, I still speak to a lot of those customers. But my dad was very hard on me. And honestly, looking back on it, I appreciate it. So like I put myself through college. I paid for a lot of my own college. I paid for my first car. I never asked really for help from him ever. But what he did give me was, great advice. He always coached me, very supportive. In fact, when I started Tire Agent and I told him I was going to do this, and I said, someone offered me a check. He goes, oh, it's a Ponzi scheme. I was like, no, someone actually wants to invest in my idea. But over the years, he was always very hard on me. But honestly, looking back on it, it was the best thing. And now we're best friends. I mean, I talk to my dad 2 times a day.
Wow. Okay, cool. So you've basically been kept honest, I suppose, by a dad that kept you accountable, and so you could earn your own way. So weren't brought up in an entitled family, right?
Not at all. I'm laughing because There were times he had me load the truck. There were times he sent me door to door. I did warranties. I mean, nothing was given to me as a handout. I had to earn literally everything. I never got favors. And honestly, I prefer it that way.
Yeah.
I don't want handouts. I want to be able to do it on my own. And yeah, it was great. Honestly, looking back on it, I'm happy he did it. At the time, I was like, what the heck? Because, other people in our company that were related got a lot of, handouts and free things. And I just didn't get that. But looking back, I understand why he did that.
Yeah. Cool. So let's go to the birth of the idea of the tire agent. So obviously you were in the tire business, so you sort of knew you've been, in the trenches, you knew what was about, you knew the supply, you knew the selling, you knew maybe the back office, the front office, customer service, all that stuff. So what was there an aha moment? We went, no one's selling tires online. Why don't I do that? And there's maybe a reason why they didn't do that. But where did this idea come from to do it online? We know that everything's online today, basically. So when did this idea come to you, and what was the inspiration behind it?
Yeah, well, it didn't really come to me naturally, to be honest. I mean, what kind of happened was uh, when I decided I didn't want to be in my dad's business anymore, because I kind of felt like they were not evolving with the times. I knew I had to create my own journey. So one day I went on LinkedIn and I just, that section that says like people you should connect with,
Yeah.
right? Like recommended. So I had seen this guy's face and it said the word investor under his name. I didn't really know anything. I clicked on his name and I messaged him and I go, you don't really know me, but I have an idea for a tire business I think you need to know about. So he says, send me a deck. I couldn't even believe the guy responded to me. Okay. So I'm thinking to myself, what is a deck? I thought it was like something behind a house. So I go online and I just put out an ad on a site that says, who can make me a deck for $100? So I paid this guy $100 to make me a deck. And it was, to be honest with you, looking back on it, it was pretty crappy. And it was an idea about a search engine for tires. So I send it to him. We do a call. Call goes okay. We do a second call, goes terrible because they were very hard on me about the idea. And then we meet in person. And then the in-person meeting was for real. Like it was intense. It was like 5 people in a room grilling me about the idea. But I understand why they did because, I didn't know at the time they were going to write me a check for $100,000. Well, literally on day 7, from the time I messaged them on LinkedIn to the time they made me an offer was 7 days.
Wow.
7th day, they call me. They go, we want to make you an offer. It's going to be, I think it was about $100,000 for 8% of the business, give or take. I don't remember the exact amount of percent, but it was roughly around there. And they're like, we need an answer relatively soon. I sleep on it. I wake up the next morning. I'm like, I'm doing it. Because how often is a stranger going to write you a check? Right. It just like doesn't happen. It's like something out of a movie. Right.
Yeah.
So I go to my brother and my dad and I go, hey, I'm putting in my notice. I'm done. Like, I'll help you transition out of me because I had a lot of accounts at that time, but I got to move on.
Right.
So I take the chance. I take the offer. It ends up being a tech accelerator, which means they're mentoring you and they're coaching you and they're it's more than money, right? It's like a mentorship program basically. And they told me at the end of the program, I have to go on stage in front of 1,000 people. I am not a public speaker. Like, what do I know about that? I'm an introvert for the most part. I'm a low key person. So I go through the program and somebody says to me, whatever you do not launch your business before demo day. I'm like, what do you mean don't launch my business before demo day? I got to go up there with something. So the original idea, as I mentioned, was a search engine. Didn't really have any legs. Then I tried to do couple other businesses. They all kind of fizzled out. Then I did mobile tire installation. That's what I went on stage with. But the day or a couple days right before going on stage, I had landed an agreement with one of the largest companies in the country to do road hazard protection with them.
Right.
To sell their platform. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, holy crap. I just signed a big agreement. I now could put like their logo on my presentation because I have no business. So I go on stage. I pitch the idea of the mobile tire installation combined with the road hazard protection from that big company. And I get this huge applause and I'm thinking everything's going to be great. And I get no investment now. So now months have passed by since I got the 100,000. After that, someone said to me, "Hey, what are you doing with this? Why aren't you selling tires online?" And they kind of pushed me and challenged me. They said, "Why aren't you selling tires online?" And I thought about my experience from when I went door to door on what it was like talking to counter people at stores. And I just thought to myself, you know what? The guy's right. Like, why am I not doing this?
Yeah.
Because when you think about the business of selling online, you could scale quicker than going
Yes.
door to door on a mobile tire van, right? And that's a great business. I have no issue with it. But if you're taking venture capital money, you need to scale quick. But the problem is, in my mindset, I grew up in a family that had an old school, fundamentally sound business at that time. So even though I'm in the venture world, I don't want to be like those people who are burning tons and tons of money. So I start to think, what do people hate about local tire shops, right? Well, it's an unfair advantage that a counter person at a tire shop is facing. It's usually one guy behind a counter, and he's expected to give the customer the information about the tire. He's expected to tell them about financing and payment options. He's expected to tell them about warranties, features and benefits, right? And while he's doing that, there's a line of people waiting to be helped. It's unfair. So
Yeah.
when I built Tire Agent, I wanted to solve for education and customer service first. Then over time, we ended up solving for payment options and giving people a multitude of payment options. Because in America, and I've had the honor of speaking to so many hardworking people across the country, because I do a lot of road trips, even when I was door to door sales. When you talk to people, people are barely able to pay for just like core essentials.
They're
Like they're
hand to
just
mouth. They're hand to mouth, aren't they? Yeah.
hand to mouth. And so many e-com companies care about the top 10% of income, but that's not most Americans. Most Americans are struggling and they feel rushed in their decisions about everything because the pressure is just immense. So that's kind of how the idea of Tirage came about. It was kind of like a snowball effect. I started by solving for customer service. Then I started solving for payment options. And then we kind of combined the two. And now if you see Tire Agent today, like that's what we have. I mean, if you Google us and you look at the reviews, they're stellar reviews. Because I tell our customer service people, do not rush people off the phone. I don't care if it takes 5 minutes or 2 hours. You take your time and you answer all the questions.
Yep.
And that's kind of how Tire Agents kind of like evolved. And then in 2020, we really hit it. We discovered an easier pathway for customers to buy tires with multitude of payment options. And we launched that during COVID. And COVID was a very interesting time because the first few months we just like lost our shirts. And then once we caught momentum, it kind of went from there.
Yeah.
Sorry
Cool.
for the long-winded answer.
No, it's good. And for me, so one big question I have in my head is, so people buy online, they buy your tire. I'm really shit at putting tires on, right? So how do you solve that problem? Because that's what
Yeah.
raised in my head. I'm going, okay, I bought a set of tires for my car. Wow, look great. Who's going to put them on for me?
Yeah.
So how do you
So
solve that?
yeah, great question. I mean, we've partnered with a ton of independent installers across the country. So we have thousands of installers on our website listed across a lot of zip codes. But believe it or not, a lot of our customers, they don't want to do that. I mean, we offer it and we have thousands of people every month that opt in for it, but way more opt in not to do it. And I used to think it was crazy. And then one day I needed tires myself. And I called one of my friends who's a manufacturer and I said, "Hey, can you send me 4 tires?" He goes, "Where do you want me to send it?" And I could have said an installer. I actually said, "Send it to my apartment." So the tires arrived to my apartment and people asked me, "Why are you doing that?" I was like, "Because I don't know where I'm taking them yet. But once I get them, I'll figure it out." I ended up taking it to a shop to get them installed. But we do offer installation on our website and thousands and thousands and thousands of people opt in to do it. But majority of people actually don't want to do it. They want to take it to their neighborhood guy who they know. And,
Oh,
who
right.
am I to stop? Yeah. I mean, look, I don't want to tell people what to do with the tires. I mean, if that's what they want, that's what they want.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do a cater to both audience.
So basically, obviously, then the price of the tire must be less than basically going to a shop and getting it the whole service done? Is that part of the plan, or is it just what other like features and benefits you offer above your local corner tire shop?
Yeah. So for one, I want to go like high level, right? People think a tire is a tire. That is so not the case. Tires have a lot of nuance to it. There's very micro features that are involved in every different tire. Every tire is different than the next tire. They all have different features and benefits and warranties and tread blocks and all sorts of things.
Mm.
And even fuel efficiency, depending on the tire you get, right? So what we try to say to people is there's a lot of benefits to buying online. One, selection. You're going to have way more choices online than you would in a store. Okay. The second thing is, yeah, price is absolutely going to be competitive for sure. But the next thing is with us, you have affordability options. You have a multitude of payment options to choose from. And today, when a lot of people are struggling, you know, at the end of the day, it's not like you're buying jewelry, right? Like when you buy jewelry, that's a want, that's not a need. If you buy, you know, clothing, it's a want, not a need. But if you need tires, you need tires. Tires are not cheap, right? Like you can say maybe they're relatively cheap compared to other tires, but at the end of the day, it's a bulk purchase. And we're in a situation right now where the majority of Americans can't afford an emergency purchase more than $400.
Yeah.
I always advise against getting used tires because you don't know how the person drove on them.
Yeah.
And everyone's style is different. And if all of a sudden you don't know how that person drove and there's no independent certification, right, then you're risking yourself on the road. So you got to get new tires. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter whether you get it from Tire Agent or if you get it from XYZ Tire. I highly suggest you get new tires over used. That's not even like a question to me. So when you now think about that, you have to get new tires and you don't have the money to do it, and you need tires to get to your job, your school, pick up your kids, whatever it may be, do your daily errands. We're here to help you, right? We offer a multitude of payment options. The price is going to be competitive. We offer the most comprehensive road hazard protection with Allstate. There's just so many reasons to buy online versus in a store that if you've never done it, I highly suggest at least exploring the idea and learning more.
Right. Cool. So I just had a little bit of a throwback memory of, you know, you talk about new tires and used tires, and then a long time ago was the retread tires.
I remember those. You see them on the side of a highway half the
Yeah,
time.
yeah. And yeah, because I was a poor teacher and I could only afford retreads from my Datsun 180B, now called Nissan. And yeah, and I have been known to buy retreads so long ago I can hardly remember. But I'm just thinking about that. So the retread, and so are you in your what's your ideal customer profile? Is it obviously the struggle? It sounds like Struggle Street is one of your.
No, it's not struggling people. I would say we have a wide spectrum of people that
Right.
order from us, like a wide spectrum. We get people that are struggling. We get people that have a lot of money. We have people in the middle. It's not that we have a customer profile. It's that what I always tell people, you don't know what somebody's going through in that month or in that moment that you need a tire.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to, right? Like you could be doing very well, but then have a bad run for a month or two. But we have such a diverse customer base that I don't like to pigeonhole and say like we have one customer demographic, because we don't. I mean, we sell a multitude. I mean, we sell tires for Porsches, like Teslas, Hondas, GM, BMW. I mean, we see everything. What I would say the common thread between everything is it's people that own a vehicle as opposed to lease.
Right.
And leasing is a privilege, right? Because you're paying a premium to lease. That's a fact.
Mm.
When you own, that is, a lot of people are owning because it's a cheaper option or it's a better financial option, right? And you're going to get a different client base because of that. But in terms of like age, income, all that stuff, I don't have a set demographic. But what I can tell you is the majority of vehicles we do sell I would not put them in luxury vehicles. Like, yes, we sell some Mercedes tires and BMW tires and Porsche tires, and they definitely make up a significant portion. But I would say the majority are the vehicles that you would say belong to like hardworking Americans, right? Like Ford, GM, Honda, Toyota, like the very basic vehicles. That's what we typically sell tires for.
Yeah.
So we get enthusiasts and we get luxury vehicles, but that's not the majority.
Right. Cool. So let's wind back to you started. How did you get customers? Because for most businesses, whether it's an online store, whatever business, is how did you get customers? And the second question from that is, um, when was there a breakthrough moment? Said we've got this now. This business is starting to hum. So number one, how did you get your first customers? And then, okay, when was the aha? Well, that this is working.
Yeah. So I would say I'd first start out when people get into e-com. I think it's very easy for people to say, I'm going to sell on the marketplaces, right? Because it's the easiest pathway to get customers because
Yep.
they bring the customers to you. I did not do that. I thought that was going to be a bad idea in the beginning, because I wanted a business where I can not own. When people say like own the customer because they
Yep.
want their information, they want to be able to
Yep.
reach out to them, have a personal connection. I wanted a personal connection with our customers. And so the only way to do that is to make your own website.
Yep.
And then from there, I had to make a decision. Do I want to do Google first or Facebook? Because I didn't have enough money early on to do both. So I really wanted to concentrate on one.
Yep.
I felt like our value prop resonated better visually, because if you just type in like buy tires now, everyone is just going to only compete on price, right? And I wanted something more than that because we have such great reviews online. And when you think about why we have great reviews, people love our customer service. They love the fact we're going to be there for them, not just to answer questions, but even post sale if they have questions. And I wanted really to show that. So we launched on Facebook ads to start, and then later did Instagram. And the customer acquisition cost was really high because we knew we were trying to change consumer behavior. We were trying to bring people over to the online market, which had only bought in stores previously.
Yes.
And then we were trying to figure out what was the messaging that was going to work. Now, if you look now on Facebook and you see any big e-com company, they're always saying like 12 months, no interest, or all these things like no money down. But we were really early on, I would say, pioneers to educating customers to not only buy tires online, but hey, you don't have to put all the money up front. Or hey, we do offer road hazard protection. Like we were the first ones to really give true messaging in my mind, because before then, the only ads I ever saw with online retailers for tires, at least, it'd be like a mail-in rebate promotion, or it would be like buy tires online, great prices. It was always great prices, but like everyone could say great prices. What are you going to do for the customer beyond that? How are you going to show them you're there for them? Like a lot of big portion of our customers repeat order. Like we get a lot of repeat business. We get a
Okay.
lot of referrals. That's huge for us. If we don't have that, like our business is not sustainable. Like we want to be able to live on the fact that we have a great reputation. So I would say that was the starting point where I knew like we had something. And then, we knew our messaging was going to resonate with people of all income levels. It was not just like people struggling, because you think about it, right? Like there's a whole multitude of things that we offer. It's everything from, for all different credit spectrums, basically, is what we offer. And so we knew that it was going to resonate with people depending on what they're going through, what they need. Maybe people make more money in the stock market than laying it out front. Like there's all different reasons, right? And so the messaging, we started to hone in more and more and more. And I would say by 2021, we knew we were onto something. We went from our first year in business, I think, doing about 3 million. Our second year, we did 33 million.
Wow.
Our third year, we did like 75 at that time. Now, the jumps were so drastic that we were trying to keep up. I would say when we knew we had something special was when we had customers writing reviews about us, and the reviews were of substance.
Yep.
I knew then I was gaining like momentum. We had, when you see reviews online and people are just writing like 5 stars, like service was great, and that's all you get.
Yep.
We were getting essays from people,
Wow.
like full on paragraphs. And I was like, wow, we are really hitting something home for people. And that was a really special moment for me. And I think that was around like 2020, 2021. We made that big revenue jump. And that's when I knew I was on something. And once I saw those coming in repeatedly, I'm like, I got to lean in while the momentum's up. Because you see the sales coming in, but sometimes when you're in the moment, you don't really see the jump
Right.
because
Yes.
you're in it. But when you see the heartfelt thank yous and all that stuff, you're like, okay, this is something now.
Yep. Okay. So your go-to-market strategy was using Facebook ads. Is that correct?
Early on, but it wasn't, yeah, but it really wasn't about Facebook. It was more about visual,
Right. Visual.
like
Visual ads.
visual. Yeah, because we did a whole bunch of things. We did ads in apps at the
Yes.
time. We did ads in early on, like little banner ads in the Google network. Like I didn't care what it was; it just had to be visual. We
Right.
needed to show people that this was possible, that buying tires online is a thing, and it's not just for enthusiasts who know what they want. That was
Yep.
the main conversion point. Because before then, the only people that really bought online were people who knew what tire they wanted and for what purpose.
Yep.
We wanted to bring in the regular consumer who does not know about tires and help
Yep.
them feel educated in the purchase.
Right. Cool. All right. So I'm an ex-salesman. I started some businesses and I was good at selling, but I didn't realize at the time that you actually needed working capital, because if you're too successful at selling, you got to fund the growth. So are
Yep.
there any challenges for you funding the growth? In other words, supply chain. Tell us about that challenge.
Um, so here's the thing. It was challenging for me to raise capital.
Yes.
A lot of VCs did not believe in a tire business being venture backed. And I didn't come from an Ivy League school. I didn't come from a fancy job, right? So like I didn't work at a big consulting company. I didn't come from finance, none of that. I didn't have any tech skills, like virtually none. I didn't know how to code. So I'm just like a regular guy that was trying
Yep.
to raise capital.
Yep.
Um, and it was very, very hard, very, very hard. And I probably got every insult under the sun on why I would not succeed.
Right.
Um, like it was brutal, brutal. But what I could tell you is what was easy was the industry was very supportive.
Right.
So I pitched the idea early. I had a lot of friends, and so they were able to help me out and give me credit lines when I really didn't deserve it early on, and that helped when I was in the middle of fundraising because I didn't, you know, $1 million sounds like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money. But when you're trying to grow super quick, you can do a lot of things wrong with $1 million.
Yes.
Okay. And for me, I took it very conservatively because I took the money I raised very seriously because it was a lot of people's hard earned money.
Yes.
And so what I did was I went to my friends that were distributors and I said, listen, can you help me out? And they all did. I didn't have anyone who didn't support me early on. And so I was able to use that to kind of do it because what happened was once I saw the unit economics made sense, then I can, for every dollar you put into advertising, you get X dollars back, right?
Yes.
And
Yep.
so once I saw the math working, I was able to lean in heavy. And then the suppliers were helping me with float, right? Because I didn't have to pay it immediately. And
Yeah.
so that was kind of helping me get through the early stages very quickly.
Yep.
But I'm not a good salesman. I think my problem was when I was fundraising was I was maybe too honest, right? When you start and you're a founder, they're like, where are you going to be 5 years from now? And the majority of people are like, I'm going to be $5 billion company. I never said that. I said, look, this is where I plan to be. It was a very conservative number. Now we have surpassed it, which is great. Well short of 5 billion, to be clear, but we did surpass it. We did surpass our original goal by far. But I've always been genuine. The minute that you pitch someone, I didn't want to be what they call like a snake oil salesman, right? Like I didn't want to be that guy. I say, hey, look, this is what I'm going to do. You either believe that this is good for you, or you don't believe it. And if you don't believe it, that's fine. I'm going to
Yeah.
be successful without you.
Yeah.
We found VCs later on that where that message kind of resonated with them, and they appreciated the honesty and the hard work. But I always found myself at a challenge, the fact that I was not willing to compromise my morals and lie about what they wanted me to hear. Instead, I would tell them what I really believed in. So, you're probably a better salesman than I am. I'm not a good salesman, but what I always found is if you are genuine with people and you are honest, and even if it's not always what they want to hear, somebody will be there for you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's at the end of the day, you're playing a long game. You're not playing a short, you know, pump and dump, as they say.
Oh, and the majority of startups that I have found played that game are
Yeah.
gone
Yeah.
because eventually you raise all that money, you got to do something with it.
Yeah. Like I've heard reports like raised, like I think even Suleiman, who's head of AI at Microsoft now, I think he raised 1.5 billion and it didn't work. Yeah.
Listen, I'm a big believer in experimenting and spending money on things that,
Yeah.
on moonshots. Like I do spend money on moonshots ideas sometimes, and I've
Yeah.
had failures, but I will never spend money that I believe I cannot afford.
Yeah.
So like if we can't afford to do something or it's on the fence, I don't do it.
Yeah.
It's not my money I'm playing with, it's my investors' money. And I want to make sure that I am doing the best by them. And I wish more people, had that same philosophy. There's a lot of people out there that do. I'm not saying they don't. Like I meet a lot of great people, but in venture world, you are taught to burn money and grow. And I believe you can grow a business profitably and stably over time. I don't think I have to grow a million X year over year to be a successful business,
Yeah.
right? Like, someone once told me the term, you have unicorn and you have camel, right? And you have turtle, right? And I think we're a camel, right? We grow at a really good pace, but we can control the growth. And I
Yeah.
think that's more important.
Yeah. So another question I have is regarding distribution. So do you, because you're buying all these tires, do you store them or are you like a drop shipping intermediary for?
It's a hard question to answer, not because I don't want to answer the question. It's because we're a hybrid of so many different models.
Right.
Like we do have a 3PL warehouses we work with, but we also work with distributors and we also work with manufacturers. And so we blend a lot of things together. And that's part of the customer service angle that I'm trying to do.
Right.
Because, for example, if I know a distributor is closer to a customer and I can get them quicker than another method, I'm going to send a last mile courier to pick it up and drop it off. If I think I can get a better product from another source, I'm going to do that. So I think it's important that whether we do it or someone else does it, it's important to not be pigeonholed to one concept. You got to adapt with what the times are. When we very first started, we did not have a 3PL. We had only drop shipping. And then we went from drop shipping to 3PL in certain occasions to then manufacturers. And so like we're a blend of like a lot of different things.
Yeah. So it sounds like you've got a complicated system and processes now. Would that be correct?
Let's use the word sophisticated. No, and it is. I mean, yes, it's complicated. It's probably the reason why a lot of people don't enter the online tire space. I mean, it's not an easy thing where it's not like you get an order, you give it to the supplier, and you're done. No, that's not how we work. We have a lot of different methods of doing things. Like we started rolling out same day delivery this year, and we did it on a very, very small level. And it's been doing really, really well. And so now we're expanding into other methods of that to get tires to people quicker. And also, how do we get it to the installer and streamline that process a little bit better? Right now, if you go on our website, you can order a tire, get the installation, and check out. I want to go one step further than that is how do we then help you set up an appointment in some cases? And so
Yeah.
that's what we're looking at towards the end of the year is going that route. But yeah, it's a very sophisticated logistics model that we built out. I mean, I was used to doing logistics working with my family where
Yeah.
I actually imported tires overseas. I did LTL, full truckload, parcel, like everything under the sun. And I'm able to take that same knowledge and kind of transfer it here.
Right. Yeah, because there's a lot of moving parts and essentially, and a lot of tires, different tires, different manufacturers, there's different installers. And so,
Different size tires also. I mean, some people are ordering like monster size tires that are like 40 inches. You're not going to move that the same way that you move a 15-inch tire.
exactly. So a lot of entrepreneurs learn too late that good processes and systems can be either make the business work or they can kill it if they get it wrong. And to add to that, let's lean a little bit into the world of AI. And we had a quick chat about that before. That is,
Yep.
we both view AI as an assistant or a co-pilot rather than actually taking over and handing the keys to the AI, including customer service. So quickly, when did you realize that systems are very important, or you knew that because you worked with Dad? And then has AI helped you with processes and systems to, um, you know, customer service as an enhancer or autopilot? Tell us a bit about those two things.
I'm laughing because my family's business had no processes at all. It was like shouting across a room. That was like the biggest process they had. No, I mean, when I started Tire Agent, we didn't even have any processes. We didn't even use Slack or Teams or any of that stuff. Someone would call in on a hardwired phone. I would literally stand up, write down on a piece of paper like I'm in a boiler room stock trading place. I'd be like, so and so called for you, and I'd run over and give them the paper. I mean, yeah, they had email, but it wasn't as quick. It's quicker just to give a piece of paper to someone, right? And so like that was early on. Then I said to myself, we had gotten too big for the paper, and I had to kind
Really?
of move in the direction. And I was like, we need to come up with actual processes. So make sure customers are being taken care of and don't slip through the cracks. So I started to research ticketing systems like Zendesk, Freshdesk. There's a whole
Yep.
bunch of them out there, right? Um, we ended up taking 6 months to do a ticket to like prepare us for a ticketing software, a support ticketing software. And for 6 months, we wrote out all the rules and processes and how we were going to do it. And then I took another couple months and built out a training school. And it was a lot of growing pains in that process, a lot of growing pains.
Hmm.
But I knew it was better for our customer experience. Like
Yep.
it's just an expense you have to do if you're a business.
Yeah.
You cannot be reliant on email and paper. Even email alone is not good enough. Like you need a support ticket software. I cannot emphasize that enough if you're a growing business. And it's over the course of a year, it was a lot of growing pains, but I can tell you that once we made it through that, our NPS score went through the roof, right? Like
Yeah.
it was like not close. Like the amount of customers that were appreciative of the communication and follow up. I mean, that was very important.
Yep.
So I can't say I knew exactly when to do it, but I could tell you, when to do it when you're yelling across the room and you have a handful of paper and hoping someone takes it from you. So I think that was kind of like the snowball moment in which we moved to that direction. I remember I had spoken to another e-commerce company at the time, and they're like, "Are you using a support ticketing system?" And I was like, "What?
What's
What are
that?
you talking about?" Like, what are you talking about? No, I'm using pieces of paper and post-it notes. And once they told me about it and I researched, I was like, you got to make the switch. Like it just wasn't sustainable at that point. And looking back on it, I thought it was huge. Now I'm happy we chose, and I'm not being paid to endorse them by any means. I don't even know anyone there, but I'm happy we went with Zendesk because Zendesk was a platform that was able to scale with us. And what has happened is with this new AI boom that's happening, we've been able to use some of their AI tools that has helped us a lot
Yep.
on the back end. So like we have a QA team that makes sure that everyone's saying what they're supposed to say and do everything the right way. And so we use an AI tool to score our customer service agents. We
Right.
use an yeah, and that's great. I mean, that I cannot emphasize how great that is. It's quality assurance. It makes it easier because quality assurance used to be you had to have a team full of people to listen to every call one-on-one. You had to read every ticket. That makes it a lot easier. And then also, we're now implementing AI to shorten the process of taking notes on the phone.
Right.
So no, that and transcribing, which has been very helpful. But as you and I spoke in like the pre-show, I don't believe in using AI to replace agents to talk to people, because if that's the case, then why do people pick up a phone and call, right? They want to talk to somebody. Why are they clicking in? I want to speak to an agent on a chat because they want to talk to someone. I don't want to mislead people to believe it's an AI, it's a human when it's an AI person. I think that's very misleading. Now,
Yes.
can my opinion change later when things get way more sophisticated? I doubt it, but anything's possible. A lot of problems that we have today is because people are doing everything they can to disassociate personal connection. And I think that leads to a lot of problems. And I want to make sure that I always have a personal connection with our customers. I think
Yeah.
people appreciate it. I think they like the fact that we're there for them. And I think they like the fact that we're listening when they talk. And if you have an AI person, that person's not really, yes, okay, they're sophisticated. They're going to take notes. They're going to give recommendations. But a customer wants to be heard. They want to feel like they're talking to somebody, that their voice matters. And in our case, their voice 100% matters.
Mm.
And I don't want to make them believe otherwise. And so that's why right now I am against using AI to replace an agent on the phone or on chat when you're talking to somebody and advising them on a tire. Plus, I've used ChatGPT. I've tried to test with it on tire recommendations. I don't find it to give accurate information.
Okay.
So, right now that's my stance, that I just don't believe that that's the right course, but I do believe in using it and making tasks more efficient. I mean, how could you not?
Yeah. So you're using AI to help you with quality, aren't you?
Yes.
So what is there a certain app for that, or are you using a combination of tools?
No, I mean, the one we use is owned by Zendesk.
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah, so we use the internal one, and I just find it's easier to use Zendesk because they have all the plugins.
Yes.
You can it's just very simple, right? And like for us, simple is better. You want to keep everyone on one window if possible. You want to keep everyone to one login if possible. The more complicated you make it for customer service agents, the harder it is for them to relay proper information. Because then they got to remember so many things. I used to tell people all the time, my brain is like a glass of water that's filled. The more water you put, the more other water is going to spill out.
Very cool. So one of the questions got nothing to do with anything except you mentioned a few times roadside hazard service. What's that? Is that basically like your car breaks down and someone turns up?
No, so we sell road hazard protection. So it's like if you buy tires from us and you opt in for it, and let's say you run over a nail, debris, a pothole, and now you need a new tire. Well, if you just opted in for it, it's the simplest process with us. Like you submit the form, and if you qualify and everything's kosher, you get a new tire.
Right. Okay. Right.
Yeah, so it's like tire protection.
Right. Okay. Cool. Yeah, because in Australia here we have basically roadside assistance, which covers everything, but you pay an annual fee for that. So, but
Well,
you're
actually, if they buy the road hazard, we have a plan where they can get the roadside for free.
right.
That comes with the plan that they buy.
Right. Okay. That's a pretty good Well, it's not even an upsell. That's as part of the service. It's very, very good.
I mean, people call it an upsell, but I think depending on where you live, you should absolutely get in how many miles a day you drive. I mean, if you drive really long distances every day to work and back, why
Yeah.
would you not want to just like take the extra add-on when you know it's going to help you?
Yeah. Exactly. All right. So just to sum things up there, Jared, a few more questions just to wrap this up. What have been your biggest challenges along your entrepreneurial journey that you could share with our audience?
Raising capital early on
Yep.
was really, really challenging. So I think you got to master that. You got to master how you're going to speak to people, how you're going to sell the vision in a realistic manner, in my opinion, right? You don't want to be pie in the sky. You want to be realistic, but you want to be optimistic, right?
Yep.
There's a good balance. I think the other challenge for me was understanding how to hire the right people, because if you hire the right people, it makes your job as a CEO way easier. You want people that are bought in to the same values and thought process and work ethic that
Yep.
you have.
Yep.
And I've been very fortunate. Like, we haven't spoken about this, but I am really good friends with most of the employees here. Like, we genuinely hang out and we like each other and we love coming to work. I make coming into the office optional for a lot of the people, and a lot of people still come because
Right.
they love each other. Every month we do outings, we fly people in if they're in different states. And I would say you want to work with people that you genuinely care about, people that you can be friends with, because at the end of the day, you're spending what, 10 hours a day with someone, right? You better like the people that are across the desk
Exactly.
from you.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, there's a bit of a term in Australia: don't hire an asshole.
Exactly. Exactly. 100%. I couldn't agree with you more. The only asshole that should be in the room is you. No, you want to hang around people that you genuinely like and that are good people and have good character and, that are going to do the right thing. And that's really important. And then the last thing I would say is process, what you were talking about before.
Yeah.
I wish I understood before I got bigger about processes, because I'd have a lot more hair. Because at the end of the day, I was guessing. Nobody was teaching me anything. I
Yeah.
had to learn on my own, watch a lot of YouTube videos, speak to people, speak to strangers I would meet at random events I went to. I wish I understood and did the research earlier on in my career about processes and operational efficiencies, and I didn't have to learn it on the fly. So I think if you can master those things, you're in a really good place.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of people learn that too late by the time the business is out of control and they've run out of money and the bank's knocking on their door. So,
And one major thing as a CEO or founder or business owner, read the reviews that are told about you from consumers.
yeah.
And if you get negative reviews, it's okay. Read them and learn from it.
Yes.
Like don't bury your head in the sand and pretend everything is perfect, because nothing's going to be perfect. I
Yeah.
am constantly reading reviews about us and talking to my team on how we can be better. Like, nobody's going to be perfect. And if you go into that thought process that you're perfect, chances are you're probably not.
Right. Exactly. One final question is that there's a big movement to get everyone back to the office, and it sounds like you've already done that. So basically, remote working has been, the thing, and I think we'll never go back to everyone like 100%. You got to be in the office. I think remote working is basically leapt a decade ahead of where it was. But of course, some businesses work better with it, and some work without it. In terms of remote work, it's important. It's more important for others, for some than others. So, do you guys? You sound like, well, obviously you cover all of the USA. Is that correct?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So you have a head office, and that's in New
Yeah.
Jersey.
We have a head office in New Jersey, but I will tell you my opinion on remote work versus an office. I think some positions should be in office, but I think the majority don't have to be.
Yeah.
I think the majority can be remote, and in fact are remote for us, the majority.
Right.
For me, I think if you hire adults that take the work seriously, then you don't have to worry about whatever, them slacking off. There is this battle between remote and an office, right? It doesn't have to be a battle. It's very simple. You hire the best quality people, and if you find that you hire them and they're remote, then get rid of them. If they're not doing the work,
Yeah.
right? If they're not doing the work, get rid of them. If they're doing the work, then you should not care if they want to slack off an hour a day. Like, for my personal opinion is, if you get the work done, I don't care. Just get the work done that you're supposed to get.
Yep.
And I will be totally happy. Like, we have some people that are super into like their work, like very passionate, and they don't want to waste time commuting into an office. How can I argue that when I know that they're passionate and they work hard and they do everything right? So
Yeah.
for me, it's not a matter of in office or remote. It's like, let me find the best quality person. Do I need to shout across the room if I have like a quick idea? Like, because if I do, then I want them here, right?
Yeah.
But if I don't need to yell across the room to somebody like quickly as I'm like, brainstorming something, and they want to work remote, let them work remote if they're going to be a responsible adult.
Mm.
Now, I can't speak for other companies how they work, but it works because we have a really strong work culture. Like, every month we do an outing. We don't do an outing because like people have to come. We do an outing because people ask me to do an outing. Like, they love hanging out with each other. They love spending time with each other. We're all really close here. So it works because we all respect each other, and they all understand if one person is slacking, then everyone in your department feels it. And
Mm.
if everyone's crushing it, then everyone in your department's doing great. So it just depends on how much you trust your team, what your work culture is like. If you have a toxic work environment and you're pressing people all the time and you don't care about who they are as people, then yeah, work or remote, they're probably going to slack off because they're not happy.
Yeah.
But if you give people an environment where they feel like they are benefiting from the success of the business, then they're going to work their butts off for you
Mm.
because they want to see the business do well. We have a company culture here. People love what they do. When I tell you I love what I do, I love coming in, hanging out with them, talking to them. We go to dinner, we go to Knick games, we go to Ranger games. Like we do all sorts of stuff together, not because we have to, it's not required. It's because we actually like being around each other and we like the environment we have.
Right.
Did that
Yeah.
answer? I know I'm always long-winded about these
No,
things.
no, it's very good. So, yeah, work culture, enjoying who you work with is very, very important. And sometimes you don't want an echo chamber, someone saying, well, we just want to keep you happy, Jeff, by telling you what you want, which are known as sycophants. And we know there's a certain person in the USA that maybe does that very well, surrounds himself with people that just are yes people. But that's another story, not going there. So, what's the future for Tire Agent? Is you obviously sound like you're still growing. Are you still raising money to fund that? What's the future for
No, no. I mean, so here's what I would always say. I have not actively been in the process of fundraising
a while?
before. I took a few years off from that. That said, like we may consider it at some point fundraising, but it would not be the purpose because like the business needs it to survive. It
Yes,
would be in the purpose of that we want to grow. Like
right.
we could never raise another dollar and keep growing at the similar pace we're going at. I have really big aspirations on some things, and so we may like fundraise, but I want to do it consciously. I want to do it with the right partner. I want to be picky in that whoever, if I do take money, I'm taking it from the right type of person that I'm looking for.
Yeah,
Um, I don't go into fundraising into the thought process of like, I need this money to survive.
yeah,
You never, if your business needs money to survive, you don't have a good business. I'm
yeah,
sorry. I don't care what anyone says. That is my opinion. I'm very vocal about it. You want money when you don't need it.
yes,
And I have very big dreams of where we're growing into. We're actually launching another business, department in a month. We have another business we operate currently that's doing very well. And, when if we decide to take money at some point, it's going to be because you know, it's going to be because we like the people that we're taking money from, but it won't be because we need it. It'll be because it would be nice to have it.
right. Yeah, and yes, choosing the right, venture capital company partner is important because you don't want somebody coming in and their culture is different to yours and they change the culture or disrupt it or blow it up because they're not the right sort of people you want to work with, and that extends right through the whole relationships, doesn't it?
Yeah. Anytime I've ever tried to raise money, so I've raised 4 times.
Right.
Each time I raised, the business would have survived without it. Maybe not the first year because we needed that to get off the ground.
Yep.
But I would say by like the second through fourth, I would have figured it out how to do it without it. And we had the cash flow. And, I once you go into because you need it, you're in a bad position at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very rarely do people come out of it. I always say no when people ask me like, "Are you fundraising right now?" Because like as a CEO, you're always kind of fundraising because you want to keep your options open. You want to see what's out there.
Yeah.
But I just don't think it's funny. I have an old school traditional business mindset while running a venture-backed tech startup. It's like this. It's like this weird battle between two mindsets that I always have.
Right. So in essence, you're even though you sell tires, you're really a technology company now. Is that correct?
At my heart, I'll always be a tire company. At my heart, I'll always be a tire company, but the business would not function without technology and without cutting edge technology. I like to think that we're on the forefront of all initiatives that we do. I never like to play defense. I'm always playing offense. I'm always thinking a few steps ahead to make sure whatever we're offering, customers see value in it. And I like to be pioneers in things that we do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's well, the whole world landscape as well as the business landscape is evolving so quickly now because of AI and implications and social media and different ways to define things. One question I was going to ask, so you for business to keep growing, is it because you're ranking higher in search engines? They find you organically. That's not visual, I know. Or
Yeah.
is it just word of mouth? What's your for growth? Is it a combination of everything?
Uh, yeah, I mean, you left out some things, so I can kind of fill in the gaps. So I
Yep.
would say referral continues to grow. I mean, we're always getting, more people referring us to their friends, their spouses, their kids. I mean, that's always going to be a factor.
Yep.
I would say partnership deals are a big factor for us. I would say, you know, paid marketing is certainly always going to be a core function for us. And SEO, yeah, we have been ranking higher. And, you know, SEO is interesting because it's changing so rapidly.
It is. Yes.
Like it was not too long ago, it was actually relatively recent where Google started ranking Reddit higher, is what it looks
I
like,
know. It's
right?
crazy. Yeah. Well, they gave him $50 million to buy the data.
Yeah, yeah.
They just happen to
So,
be ranked on the first page of Google for almost everything. It's like,
yeah, right.
and and should Reddit be your like source of truth? No.
Yeah. I'm saying, yeah, as in like, I kind of agree with what you're saying. Uh, you know, for us, you get into a moment where you catch momentum in every angle. And when it's going right, it's going right.
It's
And
like
when it's
synergy.
going wrong,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And when it's going wrong, it feels like everything is collapsing at the same time.
Yeah.
We are growing. If I had to really pinpoint it to something, I don't think it's one thing. I think it's a lot of small things. My CTO, Franco, and I, we always talk about like why we're growing so much. And he's been with me, by the way, for like 6 or 7 years. We have virtually no turnover here of people.
Right.
Um, but when Franco and I talk, we sit in a room sometimes and we're like, how the heck are we growing still? And we try to like pinpoint it to one thing. It's
Yes.
never one thing. It's a multitude of things.
Yeah.
And every year we just are perfecting every department. We're perfecting, our marketing. We add new people. We add the right people. And like, here, I'll give you an example. Last year, I added a supplier relations role. I used to handle all the suppliers myself with like negotiating, all that stuff. Well, thank goodness I did that because this person has taken a world off my plate. I've been able to focus on partnership deals, and now that's helped, right? And so, like, it's never just one particular channel or strategy. It's like you just cannot be complacent in every part of your business. Everything has to keep moving forward. And if you do that, you'll start seeing incremental sales in every part of the business.
Yeah. So what you described is a synergistic recipe that works, and you keep optimizing as you go.
Yeah, because there's no moonshots in our world. I mean, you could try. I mean, I've maybe had two moonshots since I started where like I had an idea and it like exploded into like something big. But the
Yeah.
majority of the time it's a lot of incremental things.
Yeah. Cool. So one last personal question. You love your work, obviously. So I ask people, what would you do every day if you had all the money in the world? What curiosities or what passions do you that float your boat?
Well, I love the tire industry, so I probably would do something in the tire industry. I really love the people. I'm not even saying that. I genuinely love the people in the industry. Some of them are my best friends, and I even when I don't have to go on a trip, sometimes I'll go just to spend time with them.
Right.
So I'd probably do something either that, or I love talking to startup founders. I would love to do more mentoring and help more people that are trying to follow that entrepreneurial journey because I think at least in this world we need more entrepreneurs. We need more people who are going to be innovative and move the world forward and brainstorm, right? Because we would never be where we are if it wasn't for that. So I
Yeah.
don't think I have any normal hobbies. I think my hobbies are more focused around business and helping people and entrepreneurial things. I mean, even this weekend we're doing some charity work, not for any other reason than we want to. We want to just do something to help people at like the local food bank.
Yeah.
But if I had all the money in the world, I would probably be doing what I'm doing now.
Right.
I don't think it would change a darn thing, to be honest.
Well, it's interesting because almost every entrepreneur I talked to said, "I'm just doing what I am doing now, because obviously it's a passion, and you've found your purpose in life, which is to sell tires and keep the world rolling.
It certainly feels like it, and I got to tell you, when I talk to customers, because sometimes I'll call customers, or sometimes I'll see them. I coincidentally sometimes see people in person. I always ask them for their feedback, but I love hearing their story. Like, I love hearing people's story about how they got, where they are in life, whether it's their job or their beautiful family that they have, or where they live. Um, I don't think I would be here today if it wasn't for the customers that I love, to be
Yeah,
honest. I'm really lucky that I get to do something every day that gets to help a lot of people, but also, gets to fulfill what I wanted to do really since I was a teenager and got to see my dad working in the same type of industry.
right. Well, Jared, thank you very much for sharing your story and stories, because I that's what the Jeff Bullas Show is about, is basically hearing the stories that help other people with their journeys. And thank you very much for ripping off the bandage and showing some of the pain underneath the joy. And thank you very much for sharing your journey. Thank you very much, Jared. It's been an absolute blast.
It has been an honor being on the show, and thank you for making this painless.
Thank you. Thank you, Jared.
Take care.